Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
I'm Patrick Schmidt.
We just watched Intersections in Real Time, episode 18 of season 4 of Babylon 5. It's time to Babylon 5. Every time I watch this episode, I feel like I've taken a master class in Interrogation 101. I mean, as someone who's never been interrogated, I get a few things out of this about the tactics and what they use and why. And so strategically, everything is done with the method of breaking you down. Oh yeah, and can I mention the constant gaslighting?
There's constantly changing the rules of the game, right?
Right.
That I'm here to tell you the truth, but the whole thing is a lie.
You could say that the interrogator, he did tell the truth. It's just a very manipulated truth.
Oh well, and truth is fluid.
Right? What is truth anyway? Is the truth subjective? I mean, we're getting into some real Orwellian shit here.
So let me talk about this kind of the way I talk about it with my students. Who,
Okay.
When I teach journalism, I ask this question. We have this ideal of objectivity in journalism where we're supposed to be objective, neutral, dispassionate givers of truth.
Right.
Which presumes that there is an objective truth that exists. We're getting as close to a description of reality as we possibly can, knowing full well that it's all based on who's saying it, the time they're saying it, the place they're saying it. Everything's, I think, subjective.
Right. And as objective as a reporter tries to be, there is some small part of yourself going into it as well.
Mm-hmm. And the interrogator has some really, really, really good points in this episode. Your truth is your truth. We only know what we experience.
Right, and therefore that is your truth, and that might completely contradict somebody else's truth.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make that other person's truth any less valid? I mean, we could go on for hours.
Oh, sure.
Have a few drinks and get really philosophical here.
Yeah. How deep do you want to go? Get in the comments.
I do have to say that the man who played the interrogator, Bruce Gray, just some guy who came in to play a guest part, ridiculously amazing. You could tell that he and Bruce Boxleitner worked really hard on this, and I feel, without the context of having been interrogated myself, they pretty much nailed it. If you're wondering where Joe Straczynski got his interrogation knowledge, well, read his autobiography, Becoming Superman, and you're going to learn a lot about what he went through, and it explains a lot of things. I'll just say that much. One of the most powerful things that the interrogator does in this whole thing is the way that he twists the questions. He delivers them in a way that's designed to make Sheridan feel guilty and say, no, let me take the fall. But of course, Sheridan can't do that. He has to stay strong. But the more the interrogator does this, the more that he wants to break Sheridan. It's the gaslighting, right? It's like, don't you realize that you could change all of this by signing the paper? Don't you realize that you just killed this other guy? Don't you realize that you could put a stop to it all? Making it your fault. It's your responsibility. This all happened because of you. Never mind what the other guy's doing. I guess if you're the one being interrogated, you need a real grounding force in your truth. And that happens to be Delenn for Sheridan.
I think he was just really hungry, but he started to see some visions. But it's the same thing. Like you just said, it's his grounding. It's his well that he can go to be able to say no so many times.
The interrogator was never going to win. None of the interrogators are going to win because Sheridan will die for this cause if he has to.
And I think what he proves is just that point, that as hard as they might try to break him, if he just keeps going back to that well, if he keeps going back to, this is what I'm here for, that can be unbreakable.
They can't get to him. They would love to have him in person doing the whole thing, which is why they're keeping him alive, and that's going to be their downfall because he won't fall for it.
No, they want him to be his PR campaign, right?
No.
I think that would be a greater form of torture to Sheridan than what he's going through right now.
One of the more disturbing things that I noticed in this watch that I had not noticed before was at the very end, how they wheel Sheridan in on that gurney. It's also the interrogator's table. Did you notice that? Ooh. Ooh.
There was a quote when they were making him listen to the same thing over and over and over again.
You will cooperate with the state for the good of the state and for your own survival.
Yes.
Yes.
which only matters if you care about the state or your survival.
Right. And Sheridan...
Doesn't. Not at this point. You can't.
Yeah, the dude's going through hell, but he's remaining strong, and if Babylon 5 has taught us anything, that gives us reason to have hope. Well, even though we ourselves have not been interrogated, I feel mentally exhausted after watching this episode. It's a heavy one. And so I want to take a little moment, just relax, and maybe look at some cat videos and just take a few deep breaths.
Yeah, but that said, it is a deep episode, which should lead to some deep discussion, guys. So we would love to hear from you and your thoughts on this episode and everything on Babylon 5 up to this point.
Yes, and as a reminder, though, please just don't spoil what's coming up. We are reaching the finale. We're getting very close, so just keep that in mind, please. You haven't seen it yet, and we're in some hardcore cool stuff. I'm very excited. Till next week.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here and looking forward to seeing you then.